Welcome back to Stu Studio, Conservative Takes on Music. So a couple weeks ago, I talked about some bands and artists that are freaking out about ICE and deportations and what's happening in Minnesota, and it hasn't stopped. In fact, it's just getting worse. More bands and even bigger, more notable bands have been releasing songs about Minnesota and ICE operations. And we'll start with the biggest one, which is U2 releasing their song American Obituary. No, I've never been a fan of U2. I hate that they keep putting their album on my phone and I keep deleting it. But I know that they are huge and influential, and I even like a couple of their songs. And this one actually kind of sounded cool. It sounded a little bit punk, or like maybe post-punk, with the guitar riff and even the vocals. But then it opens with, "You have the right to remain silent or not." Which, what does that even mean? Are they just saying you shouldn't be quiet when things are happening? That's how I'd choose to take it. So the verse starts, "God above a mother's love, a guiding hand to pick you up, to crush her like a coffee cup. Why? Crossing guard or yellow bus, our children teach us who to trust. The worst can't kill what's best in us, but they can try." So that's not necessarily profound, but it's also just irrelevant to the whole situation. You say America will rise against the people of the lie, and I don't know what lie they're talking about, like that there's not illegal immigrants in Minnesota. And the chorus is just, "I love you more than hate loves war," which is fine. It doesn't really mean a whole lot, but that's kind of like pop music now. And in verse 2, they talk about Renee Good. They say, "Renee Good, born to die free, American mother of three, 7th day January, a bullet for each child you see, the color of her eye." So she got shot 3 times and she has 3 kids, and that's supposed to mean something. At least one of those kids she didn't have custody of, but that's fine. 9:30 Minneapolis, to desecrate domestic bliss, 3 bullets blast, 3 babies kissed, Renee Good, domestic terrorist. Like, I don't know about domestic terrorist, but 3 bullets blast, 3 babies kissed. It's just a very stupid line. They say, "What you can't kill can't die. America will rise." But she was killed, and she did die. And in the bridge, say, "I'm not mad at you, Lord," which is obviously referencing Renee Good's like last words, saying, "I'm not mad at you, dude," to the ICE officer. And the third verse is just, "The power of the people is so much stronger than the people in power," which I do not disagree with. I think that's a valuable idea in a sovereign nation, but again, kind of irrelevant. The last verse is, in the streets with children playing, in the churches where they're praying, school teachers are explaining, America, America, the power of the people." So really, this entire song is just kind of drawing similarities between, like, she got shot 3 times, she has 3 kids, but that doesn't really mean anything. American teachers are teaching their classes that, like, people have power in America, which is true, they do. But it all really just seems incoherent, and like there's not really a conclusive point to be made. But the fact that Bono thinks it's worth mentioning means the things must be pretty bad. I'm just kidding, I don't care. Next song I wanted to discuss is Minnesota Nazis by NoFX. Now, this song was kind of confusing because for like more than half the song, he's talking about Nazis in Huntington Beach, and he's describing like actual Nazis, and then he just starts talking about Minnesota. And I thought NoFX was like done for good, like maybe they would pop up here and there with a collab or something, or like sit in on some people's shows, or maybe like wreck backstage green rooms. And then they came out with this song, which sounds pretty low effort, and Fat Mike honestly sounds pretty bad, even for his age and even for his like drug use and life habits. They say, "What I found behind the orange curtain is probably what you'd expect," and I'm guessing that's Orange County. Now I understand that DI song. They don't hang 10, they surf, they goosey step. And maybe he's talking about the song Reagan der Führer by DI from the early 80s. But he's obviously saying that these surfers are actually just Nazis. It says, "On the pier, they love their hateful weekend rallies, where bigotry is called freedom of speech. I don't know how they can be so angry when they live at the fucking beach." Now that might not actually be Nazi behavior. He might just be mad that some conservatives are throwing rallies like under the name of freedom of speech, but I don't know exactly what he's talking about, so it's hard to tell. And the chorus is, "Those Huntington Beach Nazis call themselves right-wing renegades. They used to gather for the bonfire mass burnings. Now they wear them in their new brown shirt brigades. Don't it seem silly that they still fly vote for Trump flags? These racists live way too close to me." Again, I don't know if he's talking about like actual Nazis with rallies and bonfires and mass burnings, or if he's just talking about conservatives that also have bonfires and vote for Trump. The third verse, "On the corner of Rhine and Heil Street, there's a bar called the Eagle's Nest. There's a print shop called Swastickers. Their white print on white t-shirts is the best." And to take a pause real quick, I actually think white print on a white shirt would be super sick, but I've never seen it, and I don't think I live a clean enough lifestyle to wear that. But I digress. It sounds like there's actually a Nazi bar called the Eagle's Nest where Fat Mike lives, and there's actually a t-shirt shop called Swastickers, and he has just been living there alongside all of these Nazis this whole time. Like, I don't think I would tolerate that kind of shop in my neighborhood, and I think I would go to great lengths to drive those people out and let them know that they're not welcome. So it sounds more like an indictment on him. It goes on, it's hard to find a legal place to skateboard, but it's easy to find a mask or book burning. So burning masks is Nazi? I don't understand that one. Just means you're not stupid anymore. And in a town where there's no Cesar Chavez Avenue, you know there's definitely no Martin Luther King, because we all know Martin Luther King Boulevard is always the best street in any town you're in. This is where it turns to Minnesota. It says, if those Minnesota Nazis are so sure they're part of the master race, why do they cover their white faces when they're shooting friendly white unarmed lesbians in the face? I don't know any racism that actually plays a part in ICE operations, especially in Minnesota. Like, they're not just grabbing brown and black people off the street, although I know that people have been lied to and told that. And the more you repeat the lie, the more people are going to believe it, and the more people are going to act like idiots and get themselves hurt trying to impede federal operations. Says, oh, there's Nazis in my neighborhood. Old white bitter people can be so rude, which is funny because Fat Mike isn't old white bitter people. When they deport all of their Mexicans, they'll have to cook their own Mexican food. And this line actually surprised me just because of how played out and stupid it is, that you can only enjoy Mexican food if you also let in all the illegal immigrants and just let them do whatever they want. The song finishes with, America, America is ignorance and pride what you call great. America, America seems more like Germany in 38. Which again is a played out and lazy line, which I'm really surprised came from a band like NoFX. America has paid the highest price, now that we'll never clean all the blood off of the ice. Another ICE reference. America, why can't we all agree it's okay to have some hate for people if you base it on their ethics, not their ethnicity? And yes, I agree with that. I think everybody agrees with that. I think the only people that disagree with that are the actual Nazis he's talking about in the beginning of the song that he's just totally fine living next to. Like, NoFX had their whole heyday with Rock Against Bush, and they were doing some stuff in the 90s. Maybe they were even like bad-mouthing Clinton. But now they're played out, they're tired, and they just keep running their mouths about shit they don't know about. But they think it's always punk to fight the Republicans, the conservatives, and that's fine. It's just that no one should be listening to them when they're like 60. All right, this next song is called The Assassination of Renee Good by the coward Jonathan Ross, which is obviously referencing the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. This song is by DC Fallout from Los Angeles mostly, but they apparently enjoy singing about Minnesota and naming their band after DC. Now, just to start, the riff is kind of fun in this song. It's just very driving punk. It keeps going, but the vocalist, it sounds like a wannabe shower opera singer. And this might have hit like mid-90s, but it's 2026, and this is way too played out, way too dramatic. Say, I'm not surprised we got here. I'm just surprised it took this long. Give a proud boy a gun and a badge. The executions have begun. Which I haven't seen an execution done by ICE, and I'm sure if there was an execution done by ICE, it would be played over and over and over again on mainstream media. So the fact that the best thing that they have is Alex Preddy means that there's nothing going on. Say, the party tells you what to believe. Ignore what you hear. Ignore what you see. Civilians shot by brown shirt police. Just thin dicks in cosplay afraid to be seen. Now, NoFX also call them brown shirt, and I have not heard that as a term until I heard both of these songs on the same day. So I'm wondering if there was some Reddit talking point that was spread around recently, but I don't know what they're talking about with ignore what you hear, ignore what you see. And the thin dicks in cosplay afraid to be seen, like referencing the fact that they don't take off their masks, that they're always walking around masked up, and that people keep yelling at them, like if you're not doing something wrong, then take off your mask. And then the second they find out one of their names, they dox them and threaten their families and their lives. Like, obviously, they're not going to take their masks off. Say, welcome to the end of this experiment, referencing America as the grand experiment. A sad song to lament. It's over if we stay strong, my friends. We won't end up like them. I think he's talking about ending up like Alex Preddy and Renee Good. Love and compassion, we stand shoulder to shoulder. And I haven't seen a lot of love and compassion from these ICE protesters. They say, don't tread on me, the boot-licking battle cry of the state-sponsored killings. Oh, the irony of their self-righteous ignorance. Yeah, that's fine. They don't understand they fell for the grift, that their problems all stem from the poor, not the rich. No self-reflection or thoughts beyond this. Bend over and take it from neo-fascists. Again, these are laws that Obama and Biden upheld and chose not to overturn that are just being enforced more efficiently. So that's hardly neo-fascist behavior. It says, you stood in her way while you recorded this. You drew down, shot her face, and exclaimed fucking bitch. Which I don't think that officer just stood there in her way. I think he was trying to keep her from escaping the law, and then she drove straight at him. And I'm pretty sure the officer that called her a fucking bitch was a different day at a different place. Say, which is why your excuses, your lies just don't hit. You mega bro red pill incel piece of shit. So now they're just throwing insults at this guy that don't have anything to do with what they think he did. We see what y'all do, and we see what he did, while conservative pundits make false narratives. The playbook's the same as strategy shifts to whataboutisms and ad hominems after he just called the guy an incel red pill bro piece of shit. What about Charlie Kirk? What about Ashley Babbitt? If you can't see the difference, you're brainwashed and fit to be running the highest office in the land. So they're saying you are fit to run for the highest office in the land if you disagree with them. Doesn't make a lot of sense. But I mean, Charlie Kirk shot by a civilian just for words that he said. That's different. Ashley Babbitt was actually shot by a federal officer while breaking federal law and a group of other people. That's maybe a little less different. The Fourth Reich, regressive, cisgendered white man. Like, Fourth Reich is such a stupid thing to say about Trump at this point. And just throwing in that he's a cisgendered white man means absolutely nothing. Like, we've had like 44 cisgendered white presidents who's afraid of their neighbors, afraid that they'll see someone different from them have American dreams. And that's just missing the entire point of what conservatives actually believe, which is such a common thing that I've seen on social media lately, saying, oh, you must hate immigrants because you're conservative, which is not true at all. It's that immigration can't be uncontrolled and left wide open. You have to know who's coming in so you don't let in the bad ones. But when you reach a point like this, you need to kick the bad ones out, which is what they're doing. They finish the singing part saying, I don't have the answers and I must confess, I know how we got here, but I don't know what comes next. And obviously, people who just bitch and moan about this stuff have no answers and no solutions. They've hardly even pointed out a problem. They've just insulted federal agents, which some of them are worth insulting, I'll give them that. But the fascism and racism that they're describing just does not exist. DC Fallout released another song about Minnesota ICE operations called Bitch, This is Minnesota. And again, most of these guys are from LA. I guess one of them lived in Minnesota or in Minneapolis for like 2 years. Say, a good plan, almost had it right, but you picked the wrong goddamn state to fight. You thought Minnesota nice meant we would bow down to the radical right. And that's kind of funny, thinking that Minnesotans are polite with their and their Midwestern hospitality. Do you think we would bend the knee when you started executions on our streets? Which, again, I haven't seen executions. Fuck Homeland Security. This one goes out to the Twin Cities. So just fuck Homeland Security, like, as a concept. So just open borders, anything goes. Stupid thing to say. They say cruelty is your weapon, but we've got empathy and love. We won't stand for this aggression. Don't make us take off our gloves. Again, that's kind of funny. Just living in the North, cold, take off your gloves to fight. It's funny. When the Iceman comes to roll you, what do we say? Fuck you, bitch, this is Minnesota. And the only people they should really be talking to are illegal immigrants or violent felons who are also illegal immigrants who are going to get kicked out, because otherwise no one has a reason to fight against ICE. No one has a reason to fear what they're doing in their city. Then they also reference the Nazis directly, saying, all right, kids, class is in session. We're starting things off with a history lesson. See, the Nazis didn't start with camps and gas. They deported and detained immigrants without a pass. Not true. Then came all the members with their supporting cast, followed by anyone who didn't kiss the king's ass. No, the Nazis were not deporting and detaining immigrants. They were deporting and detaining Jews, people who they thought were inferior. They were detaining German citizens who were not their so-called master race. People who hadn't broken a law, people who didn't intentionally come into the city knowing that they were going to get detained, and certainly not breaking a law that exists in every country on earth. Now, it's 2026. You lock up and mistreat little kids, murder nurses helping veterans. America is great again. And Alex Preddy used to be a nurse, but he wasn't at the time that he got shot because he quit to become a full-time protester and agitator, which shows what kind of person he is. Not some good-hearted nurse. At least not anymore. Then toward the end of the song, they rattle off all the people on their list. Say, we're gonna stay loud, we're gonna stay pissed. I got a list, and the order of my list is this. Fuck Christy, Gnome. Fuck Steve, Miller. Fuck Greg, I don't know. Fuck Tom, Homan. And fuck Todd, I don't know. Fuck the people who support this job. We're gonna stay loud. We're gonna stay pissed. Fuck you. This is Minneapolis, bitch. We're gonna fight. Fuck Trump. Fuck ICE. Which I've heard that so much in the past 2 months that I don't even care. You just sound like a child. See you in hell. In time will tell. Just following your orders never worked so well. Again, that's a Nazi reference. So these people are all original and creative. But this all culminates with one band pulling the biggest stunt to show that they disapprove of ICE and Trump the most of all, and that's the Dropkick Murphys. This from Yahoo News. Earlier this week, the Boston band announced it would play a free acoustic show across the street from the Alex Preddy Memorial in Minneapolis before that night's sold-out show at the Palace Theater. While the show is taking place in Minneapolis, fans in far-flung places will be able to tune in as well. Valor Media and Save America Movement will produce a live stream of the concert, which can be viewed at abolishice.live. Midas Touch will also carry the stream. So it's an acoustic show at a small venue, obviously not big enough to hold many people, so they're going to live stream it, which makes sense. They say the concert is a fundraiser, with the stream offering an opportunity to highlight the work of local organizations to a larger audience. Organizers are encouraging attendees and online viewers to support Neighbors Helping Neighbors, Show Up for Eat Street, Immigrant Law Center of Minnesota, and rent support for Bancroft families. Now, it doesn't say that they're actually donating any revenue from the stream, just that they're encouraging other people too. The singer Ken Casey said, "We are so proud of how Minnesota stood up and met this moment, and we are so sad for the community and for the Preddy and Good families for what they've gone through. So it is an honor to come down and be able to play some music for the people and let them know we stand in solidarity with them." Other bands playing the show are the Wild Colonial Boys, Danzig Quetzal, Brass Solidarity, Kiss the Tiger, Sophie Hiroko, Shoots, Obi Original, the Shackletons, and Lamar. So it sounds like they kind of just threw together a full-on acoustic festival, which is pretty punk itself. But just saying that they stand in solidarity means absolutely nothing. Like, they can yell louder than other people because they have a microphone, but they're not doing anything. They are not helping. All they're really doing is spreading lies that make other people mad and make other people stand in ICE's way, and they're going to get hurt too. And this is all also coming off the heels of the Dropkick Murphys saying they are never ever going to play Punk in the Park Festival again because they found out that the organizer might have donated to Trump in the past. And all of this is ironic because one band that is playing Punk in the Park is Dead Kennedys, the original Nazi punks fuck off band. Now, they said they're not going to play in the future, but obviously they didn't see it as a big enough issue to drop off the concert this year. And if the Dead Kennedys don't think that you're a Nazi, then I definitely won't. That's it for now. Thank you for watching this episode of Stu Studio. And remember, Jesus loves you.